Hello everyone, it's good to be back. This is your host Omobi. So in our usual greetings, ekabo to Trading Without Borders podcast. That is welcome to Trading Without Borders podcast in Yoruba language. That's from the southwestern part of Nigeria. So for season 2, we're going to be considering trading goods and trading services. So we're going to be mixing both. So I'll be sharing information, details, highlights, and any updates in respect of trading goods and services. So today's episode is basically introduction and a bit of recap of what the AfCFTA agreement covers. So as I mentioned in season 1, that's you might want to listen. It's detailed in respect of what the AfCFTA covers. The AfCFTA agreement covers trading goods, trading services, investments, intellectual property rights, competition policy, dispute settlement, and of course, e-commerce. Okay, a quick recap on the specific objectives of the AfCFTA include to progressively eliminate tariff barriers and non-tariff barriers to trading goods, to progressively liberalize trading services, and of course to cooperate on investment, intellectual property rights, competition policy, and also to cooperate on trade-related areas. Then, of course, to cooperate on custom matters and implementation of trade facilitation measures. I discussed this extensively in season 1, so you may want to listen to that. Then, to establish mechanism for settlement of disputes, and of course, to establish and maintain an institution for the implementation and administration of the AfCFTA. So we're moving to trade in services, but just before we review the provisions of the AfCFTA agreement, let me just mention that there are 4 modes of supply of services under international trade. We have the cross-border supply of services, consumption abroad, commercial presence, and the presence of natural persons. So for cross-border supply of services, for example, a Togolese national or a company reaches out to a Nigerian architect to do some designs, and that's done and that's sent either via email or through any form of telecommunication. That's cross-border supply. Consumption abroad, a Kenyan national goes to, that's an example, a Kenyan national goes to South Africa to probably use their medical services, or you go into another African country from your own country for tourism, and of course you use the hotels or the services that the tourist company provides to you in that country that you've traveled to. That's supply of services, and that falls under consumption abroad. Then establishment of commercial presence, for example, a Ghanaian company decides to set up a branch in Zimbabwe. That's setting about it. So that's establishing the commercial presence. And the presence of natural persons, that's the last one. For example, an accountant from Cameroon goes to, let's say, Kenya to provide services there. So that's the present. It travels down to Kenya to provide accounting services. So that's presence of natural persons. So that's the 4 mode of supply of services under international trade. So from next week, we're going to be looking at the AfCFTA provisions on trading services. And however, there are still some schedules of specific commitments in respect that are still being negotiated by member countries. And of course, there are 5 priority services sector that has been approved by the EU. So we're looking at the financial services sector, communications, the transport, tourism, and the business services sector. So those are the ones that negotiations are ongoing right now. So for today, I say thank you to everyone that's been listening, and I say welcome to my new listeners. In our usual practice, the podcast is basically for information purposes, not to be regarded as an expert advice. If you need expert advice, please reach out to me. And until next week, I say Odabo. That's bye-bye in Yoruba language. See you until next week, Thursday. Bye-bye.